the smallest boat. Rosie and Jim were going for a walk when they saw a man making something. "It's a big basket," said Rosie. "A giant's basket," said Jim. "A coracle," said the man. He put the coracle in the water and paddled away. "Big for a basket," said Jim, "but little for a boat." "Noggin," said Rosie. Further on they saw something else. "Look, a basket in a tree," said Rosie. "A boat in a tree," said Jim. A big bird flew out of it. "It's a nest," said Jim. "Noggin," said Rosie. Further on they saw something else. "That's a funny boat," said Rosie. "It looks too floppy for a boat," said Jim. "It might be another nest," said Rosie. A lady came and put it on her head. "It's a hat," said Jim. "I'm all mixed up," said Rosie. Digging water. Jim said, "Look, there's a boat digging water." "Oh, noggin," said Rosie, "you can't dig water." "Well, it must be digging something at the bottom of the water," said Jim. "What is at the bottom of the water?" said Rosie. "I don't know," said Jim. The rag doll went bump and stopped. "We are stuck," said Rosie. "On something hard," said Jim. "At the bottom of the water," said Rosie. Rosie and Jim jumped ashore. "Look," said Jim. At the side of the canal there was a big round thing like the plug in the bath. Jim pulled it out. "Ooh, noggin," said Rosie. Water came swooshing out. All the water ran out of the canal. The rag doll and the dredger were sitting on the bottom. The men came and dug rubbish out of the bottom of the canal. "That's what's at the bottom," said Jim, "and it made our boat stop." "We just need some more water now," said Rosie. Corn for the chicken. Rosie and Jim met a hen. "Quack," said the hen. "Oh, cluck, 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 cluck." "Can we help?" said Rosie. "I'm laying," said the hen. "The table for tea," said Jim. "We are good at that," said Rosie. "Come on, Jim." Rosie and Jim whizzed about. They brought a cloth, knives, forks, spoons, plates, cups and salt. "Ready," said Rosie. "No," said the hen. "I'm not laying tea, I'm laying an egg." "How do you do that?" said Jim. "Easy," said the hen. "Just watch. Here it comes." The egg popped out of the hen. She kept it warm. They waited to see. It went tap, tap. A chicken came out of it. "Lovely," said Rosie. The chicken soon fluffed up its feathers and said it was hungry. "Time for tea," said Jim. "Cheese sandwiches," said Rosie. "And tomatoes," said Jim. "Bark, bark, bark, bark. My chick likes to peck corn in the grass," said the hen. "Tuck in," said Rosie. Rosie and Jim scattered corn for the chicken, then sat down to eat their sandwiches. Rosie and Jim win a prize. Rosie and Jim were going along on the rag doll when Rosie said, "Look!" There was a big notice that said, "Boat Festival." "There's a prize for the best decorated boat," said Jim. "Let's have a go," said Rosie. "What can we do?" "We could," said Jim, "make our boat into a flying boat." The rag doll grew wings and swooped through the sky. Rosie and Jim floated down to earth in parachutes. "I'm not so sure," said Rosie. "Let's try something else," said Jim. "We could," said Rosie, "turn the rag doll into a submarine." "That would be fun," said Jim. The rag doll dived under the sea amongst the fishes and the whales. "I'm not so sure," said Jim. "Let's try something else," said Rosie. "We could," said Jim, "turn the rag doll into a hoverboat." "Noggin," said Rosie. The rag doll hoverboat climbed out of the water and went skimming across a field. How surprised the sheep and cows were. "It might give the folks a fright," said Jim. "Let's just enter it as Rosie and Jim's boat," said Rosie. "Good idea," said Jim. The judges came and fixed a blue flower on the rag doll, with "First" printed in gold in the middle. "We've won," said Rosie. "Great," said Jim. Under the ground. One sunny day, Rosie and Jim were travelling along on the good boat rag doll. There were lots of things for them to see. They saw a lot of tall trees near to the canal that made big shadows across the water that made them think of dragons and monsters. Then they came to a big black hole in the side of a hill. "We're not going in there," said Rosie. But they were. The boat didn't stop. It went on chugging straight on into the darkness. "We'll meet a witch," said Rosie. "Or a dragon," said Jim. "We'll be safe," said Rosie. "On the good boat rag doll," said Jim. "I hope you're right, Gobbin," said Rosie. What a noise the boat made in that tunnel. It rumbled and roared as it went along. But there was a big light on the front, so they could see where they were going. It got darker and darker as they went deeper into the tunnel. "Ooh," said Rosie. "What if there are ghosts in here?" "Ooh," said Jim. "Hold my hand, Rosie." She did. She held Jim's hand tightly all the way through the tunnel. So Jim was not frightened, neither was Rosie. Rosie saw a little dot of light in front of them. "What's that?" said Jim. "It's tomorrow," said Rosie. The little dot grew bigger and bigger. It turned into a hole like the one they had gone into. It was the end of the tunnel, and when they came out of it at long last, it wasn't tomorrow at all. It was still today, and the sun was still shining. So they went for a walk up the hill that the tunnel went under. "I wonder if there's another boat going under our feet," said Rosie. "I wonder if they're scared," said Jim. "What fizz-pots," said Rosie. "There's nothing to it." When night came, it went dark again, though they were not in a tunnel this time. The owls and badgers and foxes came out to look for their dinners, and they were not a bit scared of the dark. Neither were Rosie and Jim. They snuggled up in their bunks and went to sleep and had lovely dreams. Rosie and Jim go flying. Rosie and Jim were going along on the good boat rag doll when a flock of birds flew over them. "Oh, I do wish we could be birds," said Rosie, "and fly up in the sky." They turned into birds with Rosie and Jim faces. "Who did that?" said Rosie. "It was a wish," said Jim. "They don't always come true," said Rosie. They swooped and flew over the trees and the river. Far below, they could see the rag doll. "I'm hungry," said Jim. "I wonder when we stop for dinner," said Rosie. "Oh," said Jim. "What was that?" said Rosie. "A fly," said Jim. "A fly?" "I've swallowed one," said Jim. "Yuck," said Rosie. "What about dinner?" "That was dinner," said Jim. "What?" "That's what the other birds are eating," said Jim. "I can smell something nice," said Rosie. "Dinner on the rag doll," said Jim. "Egg and chips." "I want to be a rag doll again," said Rosie. And whiz-fizz, they were rag dolls. "That's better," said Rosie. "Now for dinner."